Welcome back to Not the Right podcast. Today I will be diving in on the escalation of violence by the Israeli government in the Middle East and the lack of any consequences to Israel. So, in recent weeks, the world has witnessed yet another disturbing chapter in the ongoing saga of Israeli aggression against the people of Lebanon. The latest preemptive and unwarranted strikes launched by Israel, aimed not at military targets or Hezbollah militants, but at civilian housing and critical infrastructure, represent a haunting continuation of the same war crimes that have devastated Gaza for years. Shielded by the unwavering political, military, and financial support of the United States, Israel continues to act with impunity, unleashing violence on innocent populations while hiding behind a veneer of self-defense. Lebanon, a nation that has long been a battleground for proxy wars, now finds itself once again under siege. Not because of any provocation, but because of the strategic interests of Israel and its powerful backers in Washington. The strikes on Lebanon, much like those that have reduced parts of Gaza to rubble, are targeting civilian populations indiscriminately. Homes, hospitals, and schools are not spared in this onslaught, and entire communities are left to face the terrifying reality of bombs falling on their neighborhoods. What makes these actions all the more sinister is the use of unconventional weapons by Israel, such as pager and walkie-talkie bombs, small, inconspicuous devices that explode without warning, killing or maiming anyone unlucky enough to encounter them. These bombs, placed not in Hezbollah strongholds but in public spaces where civilians gather, are a deliberate and calculated form of terror. They are designed to send a message, to instill fear, and to remind the people of Lebanon that their lives are expendable in the eyes of those who wield power. Yet, despite the clear and ongoing violation of international law, Israel remains shielded from accountability. The United States, Israel's most stalwart ally, continues to provide billions of dollars in military aid, ensuring that these war crimes can continue unabated. Meanwhile, any attempt to hold Israel responsible for its actions is blocked at the highest levels of international diplomacy, often with U.S. vetoes in the United Nations. This cycle of violence and impunity has created a global atmosphere where Israeli aggression is not just tolerated, but actively supported by one of the world's most powerful nations. It is time for the international community to take a stand. Countries around the world must come together to divest from and sanction Israel for its repeated violations of human rights and international law. The global movement for justice cannot be limited to statements of condemnation. It must be matched with meaningful economic and political consequences. The world has seen the power of divestment and sanctions before, against apartheid South Africa, for instance, and it must mobilize that same moral force now to pressure Israel to change its course. For the United States, the first step must be cutting off the endless flow of taxpayer dollars and weapons that fuel Israel's military machine. It is unconscionable that American money is being used to perpetuate violence against civilians in Lebanon and Gaza. Furthermore, the U.S. should ban AIPAC, the powerful pro-Israel lobby that has for too long skewed U.S. foreign policy in favor of Israeli interests at the expense of peace and justice. American support for Israel's war crimes must end, and the country must cease providing diplomatic cover for Israeli atrocities in international forums. The people of Lebanon, like the people of Gaza, are not mere collateral damage in some grand geopolitical chess game. They are human beings who deserve to live free from the constant threat of violence and destruction. The international community must act now to demand accountability from Israel, to end the cycle of violence, and to stand with those who have for too long been the victims of aggression backed by global superpowers. Without decisive action, the tragedies of Lebanon and Gaza will continue to repeat, and the world will remain complicit in these crimes against humanity.